Hello, hello. Hey, Kenneth, how are you? Hi, Luke. What's happening? What do you see? What's that? Hey, Blue. How is everybody tonight? Nia, hello, hello. Where are y'all dialing in from? Is it dialing in, streaming in? Slevin, hello, hello. Not sure if you guys remember me. So, those of you that have been following along, I have been traveling. Hey, Luke, I will be in Manchester in November, and next month I'm going to be in London and in Cardiff, I think it is, Wales. So, kind of interesting. I've been traveling around and just got back, and we're building a bathroom for my mom. So if you remember, these were all windows behind me, and now it's paneling. Hey, Mike Lopez, how are you? Mike Gonzalez, it's hot in LA right now. I wish I was there. Hey, Patricia from Wales, I will be in Cardiff. I'm speaking in Cardiff on June 14th. I keep saying the 13th. So Crisis, which is a charity, started in Invisible People. They did research into messaging. The only nonprofit in the homeless services space that I know of that has done research into messaging, and afterwards they started their own version of Invisible People. So I taught their storyteller. How's the audio, guys? It looked like right when I said that, it looked like it clipped a little bit. Polex, if you're using, I would recommend an AA work for me. I would recommend NA. Get some support if you really want to stop, and if you're asking to stop, I assume that you do. And please do. I have 22 years off heroin and meth and crack and everything else. D'Angelo, yes, 108,000 subs. Isn't that amazing? And it's all thanks to you. And hello, Jennifer Tate. Thank you for joining. And Patricia, yeah, Cardiff on the 14th. It's on the Crisis website where the details of the event, I don't know exactly where it is. If you follow Invisible People on Twitter, I will be sharing it a couple of times. So I just got to, interesting enough, I get one international every year. I never know where it's going to be. Truly honored. Last year there was 2 internationals, and this year I'm going to Manchester in November, so maybe it's going to be 2 internationals, and I'll tell you how it all started. In many years ago, when I first started Invisible People, I was working minimum wage temp job at a shelter, and somebody who are now close friends sent me an email and said, would you like to go to Lima, Peru to speak? We can't pay you, but we can send you to Machu Picchu for 3 days because of our connections. And I was like, said to myself, yeah, right. This is ever going to happen. And I responded to the email, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And all of a sudden I got a plane ticket. So that's what happens. I don't get paid anything, but it's awesome being able to travel internationally. And I'm grateful that they're paying for expenses, and I get to travel to different countries. And probably the biggest was I keynoted the Geneva Forum on Social Change. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, hey, Nia, where are you in Ohio? I used to live in Bexley, which is a suburb of Columbus. Finnanen, is if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please forgive me. Hey, Lady T. Yeah, I do have a Patreon. You can find it at patreon.com/invisible people or invisiblepeople.tv/support. There might even be a link in the description. I'm at my mom's. Mom's sleeping in the other room with the TV cranked, and I've been traveling a little bit. I haven't talked to you guys, so I figured I'd just fire up YouTube and say hello, and hopefully you guys are all doing wonderful. So I didn't really put a lot of effort into the thumbnail and everything else. I do want to start producing shows again, but I've learned is you guys just want to chat. So here I am. So Luke, what it was interesting. I just flew into Detroit, spent a couple of days. There's a vlog there with the Detroit Street Medicine. And interesting, there's two vlogs. One from last year was more produced, where I was just starting doing this, and then the one from this year is just quick, down and dirty, not really well produced, so I could get it up. I have vlogs that I shot last summer in July that I haven't edited yet. Oh, there's one from June that I haven't edited yet. So we're going on a whole year. So then I went up to Traverse City. Then I went to Lansing, where I spoke. Interesting enough, it was an exact repeat of the year before. So I've funded Invisible People over the years is I get a gig speaking, really grateful. They pay me X amount of money. I take that money and then I pay for a hotel and a rental car and gas and food, and I drive around. So when I come back here, I've spent XX. I've actually spent more than I made, but it's the way I get to travel around and meet wonderful people and educate the general public on homelessness. And besides seeing some wonderful friends and doing outreach and going out with some amazing people and keynoting a conference and speaking some truth, I outside of Detroit, I got to see Dave, who's a member of our homeless online support group. And then I went to visit Sam, who lives in a rural community above Muskegon. And that was truly amazing. Hey, Geraldo, please feel free to email me. I love speaking to classes and students. In fact, I am building a whole new Invisible People. It's taken me about a year. When you don't have a lot of money, things take time, and it should launch in July. But it's really focused on educating young adults on homelessness and providing information so that you guys can get what you need for research and different things. Yeah, Luke, it was interesting because as you guys might have known, so like you saw Michael there. I get to see people that it breaks my heart. Like Arian, I've seen her 3 times. I hate that, when I travel to a city and somebody is still homeless, I hate that. I just hate that. I love seeing somebody that I know, but I hate that. Hi, Jan. Hopefully you're doing good tonight. Yeah. So the conference pays for the stay of the night before, but that's it. And so what happens is they fly me into Detroit, and it's my choice. So Lansing, so they pay for the airport to Detroit, and then they pay for a 1-night hotel. And so since I'm going into Detroit, I'm going to hang out with the Detroit Street Medicine. I'm going to go up to Traverse City, hang out with Ryan. And it was really awesome because, and then, speak. So that is the money that I make from speaking all goes to cover all that. I actually come back broke. I got to figure out a better business model, but it was really interesting because at my keynote, there was a interfaith group of a bunch of churches, temples, and synagogues in Detroit that I wish I had known were in Detroit. And they drove, there's 3 of them, their CEO, their chief operating officer, and another employee drove all the way from Detroit. And I was speaking at 7:30 in the morning. I was doing a breakfast keynote. So they drove all the way from Detroit to listen to me speak. And it was, I'm not one of these people that say it's a God thing, but I did get up early that morning and I ended my talk about how faith-based organizations are working together to help end homelessness really need to, step up and be the miracles. And here was this group of interfaith churches that drove all the way. So we're talking and hopefully going to do some more. So hopefully you're doing good, Jen. Hey, Reese. Is it Reese? Reese Thompson? Yeah, I mean, I do share this a lot, but I will briefly share it again because it's been on my mind a little bit today now that I'm back home. So many, many years ago, I was a knucklehead kid doing drugs, playing music, moved to LA, actually lied on an application. I got a girl pregnant and felt I needed health insurance. And I lied on an application and got hired in the television industry. And 2 weeks later, they fired my boss and gave me his job. And that scenario kept on going until I ran 75% of the 10th largest broadcast network. So I did television syndication, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Married with Children, blah, blah, blah. Television syndication shows. I never met Vanna White, but I'm the guy that got to your TV station. A lot of work, a lot of stress. Believe it or not, TMZ makes it look like everybody parties in Hollywood. And yes, I was still wasted at the time, but I really, it's not all glamorous. There's a lot of work. So I ended up homeless on Hollywood Boulevard. And then I rebuilt my life back to and there was somebody else here was asking how to kick drugs. So I hope you're listening because I had a $300 a day drug habit. I was one of the worst of the worst. I kid you not. If you were in Los Angeles and you saw me walking down the street and we were on the same side, you would have walked over to the other side of the street. I was the worst of the worst. And so anyways, I rebuilt my life back to a 3-bedroom house and a cushy marketing job. And, and I did it myself, 7 years. I mean, went from homeless to homeowner and the economy tanked. And I lost everything again except my sobriety. I have 22 years sober. I got about 10 years off cigarettes, but 22 years off heroin, coke, and everything else. So in 2008, the economy tanked and I lost my job, lost another job, kept getting layoffs. And I grabbed the camera and I started interviewing homeless people. And I want to tell you, it's because that I wanted, it was going to go save the world and all this. No, I was just giving myself purpose. And there's a little nugget there that as we're working with homeless people and we're trying to end homelessness and we're housing homeless people, and hopefully, the past should be street, shelter, home. I mean, I wish it was from street to home, but street, shelter, home. And we just can't put people into boxes. People need to thrive. They need to live. They need to have purpose to get up in the morning. which is a great opportunity for faith-based organizations to really connect with homeless people because they need tangible social interaction, which is one of the reasons that I facilitate. I don't run it. It's a community that runs it of homeless people, around 800 right now, formerly homeless and homeless people. We have a group, but it's so because there's so much isolation and everything putting into housing. My point is people need to have a purpose. You need to have a reason to get up in the morning. And what I did is I created myself a reason to get up in the morning, and it was invisible people. And then as fate would have it, or destiny, or whatever you want to call it, people started supporting it. And YouTube gave me their homepage for a day. I don't have many regrets. I got to tell you this. I don't have many regrets in life, but in 2010, YouTube gave me their homepage for 24 hours and I didn't leverage it. It wasn't until last July that I noticed all you guys, and that I never thought there would be a community that would rally around homelessness. And that was my mistake, because in 2010, YouTube gave me their homepage for a day. And I was like, oh, well, I do homeless videos. Nobody's going to watch these. And now we're at 108,000 subs, and it's really amazing. And it's all thanks to you. So now Invisible People, 10 years, it's been 10 years, is a 501c3 nonprofit. We reach millions of people every month. We work with homeless service providers, governments, other nonprofits, but our focus is homeless people and really educating the general public about homelessness, and through the lens of homeless people, because believe it or not, and it's so funny because after I was I'm sorry, I'm going off on this rant, but RECIE, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, but you asked the right question at the right time. Invisible People empowers homeless people to share their own story, raw, unedited, and in a very authentic way. Well, there's really, it's rare. There's something about homeless. I lost track of what I was going to say. It just came back to me. So after I was crashing, I wanted to work in homeless services. And even though I was homeless, they wouldn't hire me. See, in homeless services, being a homeless person isn't an asset. They consider it a liability. Homeless services become professionalized, and I'm not trying to slam homeless services. A lot of that is good. You need MSWs, which is Masters of Social Work. So it's good to have professionals working to help get people off the streets into housing. There's nothing wrong with that, but they've gone too far. So even though I was homeless services didn't think that I had experience with homelessness. And so Invisible People, which empowers homeless people to share their own story, one of the reasons we can't get grant funding, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but they don't see the value in empowering homeless people to share their own story. And listen, majority of shelters and services, I'm just going to say this and then I'm going to end the rant. Homeless sector is the only industry that doesn't listen to the people they serve. And I ranted on Twitter about that this week, and people said, no, it's also the mental health and disabilities and autism. And so the social services sector, because airlines, they have to listen, Best Buy has to listen, Apple and Facebook and, all the brands, whether it be Hanes or, Adidas sneakers, they have to listen to their consumers. If you don't listen to your consumers, you go out of business. But in homeless services, they don't listen to homeless people. So that's what I do. I help amplify the voice, raw, authentic, real of homeless people. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm going to I ranted for a bit here, so let me go back down the. How's the audio, everybody? Is it all right? Yeah, Rick, I can relate. Rick was saying the drugs was a symptom of his problem, and he was his own problem, or you were your own. Yeah, I'm still that way. Even with 22 years sober, I'm my own biggest problem. You know, Andy was saying that it's more excusable, and I when I speak, I often use when you're going to the bathroom behind a McDonald's dumpster. Life sucks. You might as well have a beer. And I'm not advocating for alcohol or drugs. I'm just saying, you know, the soccer mom's hitting the pipe. You know, the lawyer's taking a couple of pills. You know, the postman's doing a little this, doing that to make it through the day. But a homeless person whose life is really something you want to escape, we judge and say, oh my gosh, you know, they shouldn't be doing video. Jennifer, I am, you're going to make me get emotional. So, um, Jennifer Tate, I interviewed her sister Sabrina a bunch of years ago, and Jennifer just wrote, the video that you did of my sister is the only way I can hear her voice. Thank you. And my heart goes out to you and your family, Jennifer. And I also have to say that there's several people. I don't talk about them all because there's amazing stories. Like Manda got into her apartment, and Donnie in Canada got in an apartment, and people reunited. I mean, one guy even found his wife from invisible people. You know, there's amazing positive stories, but there's also people that have passed away, and several of the families have thanked me that they have a memory. And Sabrina was a precious person. I really sincerely believe that. Hey, Tim, that, you know what? So Tim said he's an MSW who was homeless for years. And thank you. Thank you. That's one of the things. So as homelessness is getting more professional and they are trying to integrate peers, which, you know, back 10 years ago, it was a little different. So that's where I was trying to get into homelessness. So I get into homelessness to work in the homeless sector. Now they're integrating peers, homeless people into support, but homeless people are like this, and they're not allowed to go up. And one of the reasons is education. So I believe, and I know homeless people get frustrated because they say, I can't get promoted at my job unless I'm an MSW, which for those of you who don't know, that's a master's of social work. And I think what we need to do is we need to provide education opportunities for homeless people or formerly homeless people so that they can be advanced and become a professional and get better paying jobs. Hey, I am possible. Nothing is impossible. One of the highlights of going to the UK in June, well, it's interesting, is I tweet it, and Natasha was the first person to respond, and she private messaged me, or she messaged me on his private message, I guess, on she Facebook messaged me, and she said, when you're coming over, we have to connect. So yeah, she, from what I understand, a bunch of people that are on invisible people, homeless people, I stay connected with and try to help as much as possible. You guys only see the videos, the invisible people stuff. We do so much more behind the scenes. Yeah, Architub. I love all the YouTube names. Yeah, I will be in the UK like the second week of June. Don't My diary, as you would say, hasn't been totally filled up yet, but I don't know totally what's gonna happen. Hey, Gravy Bake Gill, I haven't gotten there yet. I mean, if you know of transportation options, the one thing that I'm going to have trouble with, and I don't know how to do this, and maybe you guys, so in the UK, they don't have Hanes. They have socks, but they're just not the right quality. And I mean, if they had quality socks, I would just buy them there. So I have to when I go to London, what I do when I travel around here, it's cheaper to take a second suitcase full of socks than it is to take a taxi to a Walmart. So I bring a second suitcase with me, but I've got to take a train from London to Cardiff, which I hear is about a 2-hour train. And I don't know if I can, I don't think I'm going to be able to take a second suitcase of socks. So I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I actually have a call with Hanes, I think next week, and see if they can maybe ship socks to the different hotels. Otherwise, I got to figure out how to get from London to Cardiff and back with suitcases. And you guys know, traveling in the train, you don't want to take a bunch of suitcases. I don't want to be that guy. So yeah, Grabe, I've been to Primark. Is it? The quality of the socks just weren't. I got to give quality. I don't want to give junk. That's one of the things. I don't know if you saw the Detroit street medicine video. They give all brand new stuff. They don't give donated stuff, and I think that's great. Now, not everybody can do that, money wise or different things, but I think that's really great. Hey, Vox. Yeah, I've seen that. So the second suitcase I carry, it's not so much in the train, but it's going through the train stations with suitcases. I haven't worked it out yet. I don't know. I'm not going to go too personal here, but I travel with some medical equipment that I need. So otherwise, I would travel real light, but I have to take some medical stuff along with me these days. Don't get old. Don't get old. Best advice I can give anybody. Hey, Eric. I'm sorry that you were homeless. We have a homeless support group just for homeless people. If you're not homeless or were never homeless, please, this is just for people that were homeless or currently sleeping rough. And you can find it at wearevisible.com. And we'd love to have you, Eric, and whoever. But it's just for homeless people or formerly homeless. We really work hard to keep the group a safe place so that we can provide support to people. Yeah, I figured that it would go out of Paddington. Paddington. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. I normally stay down by the Strand. I mean, I can't afford the hotels by the Strand, but there's a Covent Garden. Is it? There's a real cheap hotel there in that area, and the reason is that's where the rough sleepers are. But then I know MenCap brought me, if you don't know, MenCap's largest nonprofit in, not the largest nonprofit, largest mental health and people with learning disabilities. And they brought me in and I trained out every day. So I know Paddington was the station that I would probably have to go to. So Vox, are you saying that I should just bring the two suitcases, one with clothes and the medical stuff I need, and the other with the socks, and make it? Hey, Gravy Bake, I am going to be in Manchester. I've been trying to get to Manchester. You know what, Jan? I was thinking about shipping the socks. It's just, I looked into it. It was so much money, and I can't afford that. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll figure out something. And also, the nonprofit that's bringing me over, they started an Invisible People of their own, which is why they're bringing me over. So we'll figure out something. And so in fact, we had a meeting yesterday. Exactly, Jan. I'm going to ask Haynes if they do it. They don't do a lot in Europe yet, and we'll see. So I'm part of a steering committee for an international organization that works to help art and music programs working to help homeless people scale. We just had a call. There's people on the call from Rio and people from the UK, Manchester, and we're doing a festival in Manchester in November. So all you UK friends, I will be in Manchester in November. And it's called With One Voice, and it was originally from, many of you know, Streetwise Opera, which is one of my favorite organizations. I mean, here's all these rough sleepers, homeless people singing opera, and I don't tell them, but I don't care for opera. But when it's homeless people, and I got to tell you, so they brought me in, not Streetwise Opera, but an organization brought me into the UK, London, for the first time, right before the Olympics, because they wanted the voice of rough sleepers being amplified that were before the Olympics, being pushed around and everything, police cleaning them up. And all of a sudden I get a tweet, hey, come to the Royal Opera House, because Streetwise Opera, these, homeless people are singing opera. So the Streetwise Opera, homeless people, started the kickoff to the Olympics. And it was really awesome. And that's how I met Matt Peacock, who is the chief executive, and we became friends, and we started working together. So, Beth, you say mentally ill people need to be rehoused again in an institution. It depends. Some people can be self-sufficient and lived independently and have a wonderful life. And there are some that need extra help. So it does depend. Arc-a-tub, what would you say to bring back the workhouse? I don't know what the workhouse is, but I do need, I know right now, HUD under Ben Carson is trying to make people work for their food stamps. And although, and I don't get, political on this video, YouTube channel, I try to stay away from that. It's horrible. They're increasing rent for people that have no income. Triple. It's what they're trying to now. Luckily, Congress has to approve it, and Congress isn't going to approve it. But just the fact, and again, I'm not trying to be pro or negative Trump, but just the fact that they passed this tax cut thing. I mean, if you own an airplane, and I happen to know because I had one boss I worked for that did have a private jet. So you have to around $150,000 for fuel and the terminal and paying for a pilot, just starting for a jet. You get a tax break now from the Trump tax cuts. If you're a pilot or you own your own plane, you get a tax break. This year, I grossed $23,000 last year. That is hardly nothing. And I had to pay almost $3,000 in taxes. And now HUD wants to raise rents on low-income people and seniors and people with disabilities. What? To pay for the taxes. So that's the end of the political rant for today. Wow, clusterhead survivor. Interesting name. I've met people in their 80s and 90s. Seniors on the street are getting more and more. It's getting worse. Hey, big boss, I'm doing good. How are you? Tanya, I am glad you found us too. Hello, hello. Glad to hear it, big boss. Thank you for joining us. You know what, Lady T, there's something I'm going to say about that because you're right. She says, without family, everyone's screwed. And when I talk about family, I don't think we're ever going to go back to, I'm dating myself. Some of you kids probably won't even realize the Leave It to Beaver, the Norman Rockwell painting or The Perfect Family. I don't think we're ever going back to that. But whether it be AA, maybe a church, a temple, whatever, and community, I got to tell you, so one of the experiences I had up in Traverse City is a friend took me to a gathering, and there was about 20 people. They had all supported each other for 40 years. It was at a bed and breakfast, just beautiful. And here's this wonderful group of people that have just created family. I mean, they weren't like blood relatives, but they helped each other with births and deaths and struggles and joys. And, they call it depression ethics, where, in the depression after depression, people took care of their neighbors. We don't take care of people anymore. So, hey, Beth, I don't know where you work. Love to know that. And so I don't know if it's another country, but I can tell you here in the States, the percentage, depending on city, is 20 to 30, 40% have mental illness. The interesting thing, so one of the things that I love or is just amazing, the biggest difference when you go over to the UK is healthcare. So either healthcare kicks in before, so like Michael, who is now diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, healthcare would kick in and, immediately take care of them. We don't have that here. So in the UK, you don't see the wheelchairs, the crutches, the severe mental illness like you do here. Hey, DC Vincent. So, tiny houses have become sexy. We just can't put people into boxes. It's more than tiny houses. We have to give them support services, community. There's a lot more to it. So a lot of people are just doing tiny houses just to do tiny houses, and that's not right. So, Terry, you asked about the YMCA. So a lot of homeless people here in the States use 24-hour fitness. They buy a gym membership. The YMCA's, one, have gotten pricey in some situations, or they don't exist anymore. Interesting enough, the YMCA's and the YWCA's used to provide housing. They used to provide single room occupancy housing. That was where the working poor slept at night, but those are no longer around. Hey, Beth, I don't know where you are in Canada, but there is benefits. People get benefits in Canada. And so I was lucky enough to travel to 24 cities in Canada. I helped champion the Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness. And there's all kinds of people, invisible people that were from Canada. And there are people not getting by. Homelessness is increasing in Canada. I mean, Toronto this year has been a severe crisis. Yeah, I mean, they used to YMCA used to have rooms. YWCA. Hey, Jeremiah, I don't know where here is, but it's everywhere. Did you say Starvation Army? It's interesting in Canada, most people say Sally Ann. When I say Sally Ann here, a lot of people don't get it. So boost. Good question. I wanted to address that. You say some of the homeless people don't want to integrate into society. That's not necessarily true. So what happens is when they first started trying to get out of homelessness, they went to get help and they got turned away or too many hoops or whatever. And pretty soon it's called learned helplessness. And they just started acclimating themselves to sleeping outside. And that's sad. And then they've gotten used to it. Then it's harder for them to get in. The other thing is you'll hear service providers say people are service resistant. The truth is services are people resistant. We don't have, if we're offering people what they need to get off the streets, they would get off the streets. But we have agendas and stipulations and all these crazy, stupid rules, and it's just a mess. Hey, Tanya, thank you for the encouragement for all the homeless friends and everybody that was. Oh, I know. Lady T is talking about Charlie. Oh my gosh. Heartbreaking. No, Vox, that is one thing. As I've traveled, um, homelessness is bad everywhere. I remember once speaking to a bunch of college students, and somebody had told me, that in Europe and Germany, there's no homelessness. So I was speaking that as if it was truth. And a German college student got up and she says, there's homelessness. We're just better at hiding it. They're outside of the city in the fields. So, hey, everybody, we got about 15 minutes left. If you got any last minute stuff you want to talk about, love to know where. Now, some of you have been telling, like Vox is from the UK and different places, but love to know where you all from. Hey, One Body Music Channel. I am always open to collaboration and ideas. Email me. I get 10 emails a day of people wanting to collaborate. And if it's a really decent idea that I can do it, please know I have no money. I am currently unemployed. So a big part of my day goes to my own survival. I am also right now in my mother's house and I'm spending a long time, or next couple months, working on taking care of her. Hey, Tanya, we have an online support group for homeless and formerly homeless people. That's what I was going to say. And everybody else, it's not for anybody else. It's just for homeless people and formerly homeless people. It's a peer support group. We try to keep it a really safe place. And you can find it, Tanya, at wearevisible.com. Wearevisible.com. Love to have you join us. And again, it is only for people that are in some state of homelessness or had an experience of homelessness. And it's a group to help each other. So, Game Time asked, are you making any money from YouTube? So, directly from YouTube, the vlogs I do put ads on. I only put them before. None of the homeless interviews have ads. I would never do that, ever, because that's making money off homeless people. And to me, that is wrong. The vlogs have an ad only at the beginning. I don't run them anywhere else. And Invisible People gets around $200 a month. So there's this myth that because you got YouTube videos that you're making money, and it's not that way. So now we do get some money from Patreon, and some other wonderful donors support us. We do more than just a YouTube channel. We do a lot more. YouTube is only one thing, but direct money from YouTube is only about $200 a month. And yes, we do have a Patreon page. No, Vox, you know what? I don't ask for money here. I think in the description, if you go to invisiblepeople.tv/donate, goes to the donate page. And then we do have a Patreon, are the two different ways. And I believe the links are in the description. I've been traveling around and just wanted to connect to you guys. I didn't really, I just fired it up. I didn't, put much effort into the description or anything else, because I just wanted to hang out. Isn't that cool? Hey, One Body Music Channel, thank you for the kind words. George Reed, I am currently in Binghamton, New York. I was born and raised here, but I spent most of my adult life in Los Angeles. If I'm saying this wrong, sorry, Uma, you're talking about India. I have heard, I've been to Southern Sudan twice. I've never been to India. I hear that is extremely heartbreaking. I would love to travel sometime. So Jim Hayden, you're right. A lot of people call it the silver tsunami. I'm going to be honest with you. Chances of me ending up homeless again, I'm 57, are very real. Even though I have a great resume, and people don't hire old people, they just don't. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just keep moving forward. I mean, it's pretty stupid of me to keep doing Invisible People. I should have, gone back into marketing and gotten a 401k for retirement instead. But I really believe in it. I really believe in that homeless people still homeless. So nonprofits and homeless services, they like to highlight the story of people that were homeless because it showcases their work, and there's really nothing wrong with that, but it's the people that are still homeless that we need to listen to. Babu, I don't know if it is better to buy a house. I lost my house to foreclosure. I got to tell you, I don't think I would ever buy a house again. I went from homeless to homeowner. And then I wanted to work. I couldn't find a job to save my life, and it got stripped from me. It was so painful. I don't think I will ever own a home again. Hey, James, I'm glad you got property and chickens. Game time, you know what? Here's the thing. If I put an ad on a video interview of a homeless person, I'm then making money off them, and I don't feel comfortable. There's other channels that do that. God bless them. They are doing whatever they feel is best. For me, and I also make a promise to each homeless person. So behind the scenes, there's protocols in place so that no homeless person gets hurt from anything we do. And the biggest to me is the relationship homeless people have with like case managers or the community. There's so many failed relationships that they've experienced. I want their relationship to me to be honest and open and filled with integrity. So it's very, very important that we have protocols so nobody gets hurt, and that no ads are placed on the video. Now, I do hope to do more vlogging and videos like I did about how to give out socks and different things. And those I'll place ads at. But again, only at the beginning. I won't, well, I might. Oh, Lady T, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it's interesting. So I'll tell you guys, I live transparent on the internet. So it's nothing that I haven't said before, but we weren't, there was no monthly revenue for Invisible People for 10 years. And then last July, I started a Patreon and started paying more attention to YouTube. And thanks to all of you, there's like almost 3,000 coming in every month. And that's, I want to get up to 6,000, then I can hire myself and have some money to increase the impact. I mean, the work is there. I mean, the impact is there. The importance is there. And I tell you guys, I have a whole new Invisible People. Hopefully will launch in July. Some neat things, I've been working on this for a year, a new website, new design, but there was no money. There was no money to really do anything. It was taking so long, and I was, oh my gosh. Yes, they do. In fact, right now, Invisible People is buying the socks. So hello from Argentina. Hello, Argentina. So I'm building a new website. It's about time, new logo, really changing the strategy behind Invisible People. But it's been taking so long, and I was so discouraged. Just nothing was going right. And then somebody donated, not a huge amount of money, but enough to help us move forward. So I was able to hire the Center for Social Innovation, who will be writing the content for the new website. And then I had a job ad I had a job ad on ProBlogger and Elance, and somebody out of the blue, and she didn't even know I had a job ad, emailed me. Her and her husband were in a shelter in Detroit. She not only is a research writer, she's also a creative writer. Usually you get somebody who can write research or somebody. You don't get both. She's amazing, and she just sent me an email to if she wanted to connect. So I talked to her first time today. Hey, Jennifer. So sometimes I add the donate link to posts, and sometimes I don't. It just depends. Main donation link is invisiblepeople.tv/donate. But I don't. This chat is just to talk to you guys. Not looking. And I mean, Lady T, thank you for the 20. You're awesome. Every bit counts. Hey, Michelle. Were you part of one of the events or anything? Okay, we're coming up on an hour. And yeah, my email is mark@invisiblepeople.tv. It's Mark with a K, not Mark with a C. Jennifer, oh my gosh, thank you. I hope to get to Seattle again and look you up. Hey, Melissa, I really, I've been in talks to go to Australia for years, just never happens. Hopefully someday it will. Kevin, thank you for your kind words. Okay, anybody, any ideas? I know I asked you all this time. What do you want to see in a live chat show? I've gotten guests. We've had Manda, we've had Charlie, we had Addie. They were all homeless at the time. We had Kevin from Homeless Healthcare. Yeah, Kenneth, it's, so here's the thing. I get it. You guys are asking for updates. So for me to do updates, I got to travel back to those cities. And my travel is all dependent when somebody else hires me, like to speak, like what happened in Lansing and Detroit. So it's nearly impossible. Now, like today, I talked to Rule. If you know who Rule is, he was the homeless kid I interviewed in DC. He emailed me. We had a conversation today. It was great. So if the Patreon grew to a point, or there was some kind of grant funding where it was logistically possible to do updates, I would more than happy to do updates. Hey, Terry, I would love to. I have, I don't know if you know Ed Calorie. Ed is just a wonderful person. I have other people in St. Louis. I don't know if you know this. I'm from St. Louis a little bit. I lived there for a while. That's where I lost my house to foreclosure. O'Fallon, Missouri, on the other side of the river. I know it's, but still. Hey, Lucas from Brazil. I would love to come to India. I really would. I would definitely need a tour guide. So I'll give you a little funny. We'll end with I started the show. If anybody's been hanging out, the talking about traveling internationally, and my first international was to Lima, Peru, and I told the people I agreed to it as long as they provided an interpreter and took me to the worst area in Lima so I could interview. And so they did. And here we go, me being probably pretty stupid to do this. We get in a car with the interpreter, who I've never met. I don't even know if the event organizer knew the person that well. And so we head to the worst area of the city. And I start interviewing, and it's going okay. It's actually on Invisible People. It's the only Peru interview. I did 3 there, but it was the only one that I could salvage to post. And the mistake I made was I never played the interpreter Invisible People video, so he didn't have any context of why I was asking the questions. So when we got to certain questions, he wasn't able to um, interpret, like, for example, how we end with, do you have 3 wishes? He wasn't able to interpret that because he didn't have context. So it was very, very awkward. So Vox, you're saying, can you do one program explaining the system in the USA? Message things like papers, but unknown to us abroad. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, papers, but I could kind of. So there's a great. You obviously know London a little bit. So I'm over walking by Victoria Station, and I'm handing out socks to rough sleepers. And a guy responds, and these interviews are on Invisible People. And he responds and he says, sure, but he's got an American accent. I'm like, what are you doing sleeping rough in London? You're an American. What are you doing here? So he told me his story, but then he told me he had another friend there who's also American. So the other friend actually had been born in Poland. So he was EU, European Union. So he could get services, basically. I think you'd call them papers. So he could go into shelters and he get services. The American couldn't because he's not European Union. So like with the rough sleepers that are coming from Romania and different things. So that's the same thing that kind of happens here. We get, and that's why it was so great to see, hey, Vox, thank you for the £2. Oh my gosh, you are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. That's my first international donation. You were awesome. Wow. So we are going to, sorry, I had to play moderator there for a second. So I've worked with people coming into the United States from Central America, and we can't offer them services because they're not American. So it was really interesting to see that here's an American in another country and he can't get support services. And I think we need to see that as other countries of how we treat, other nationalities. Hey, Jim, thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys are giving on Super Chat. This is just a chat to talk to you guys. I greatly appreciate it. Wow, you are so awesome. One puff. I have to, by your YouTube handle, I take it you do. And no, I do not, but I did a lot. I used to smoke a lot from a young age, right? But that's all I'm going to say on YouTube. Hey, sunlit spot. I don't know what your skill set is. The website is pretty much done, but if you have some skills you'd like to donate, mark at invisiblepeople.tv. Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah, we have an Amazon Smile. It's such a small percentage. I think we get like 0.0005% or something. I think we get $11 a year or something, but every bit helps. So You guys are really awesome. I mean, there was one person that I had to block, but YouTube can be so junky at times in comments, but the community is really healthy, and that's credit to all you. So kind of Amazon Smile is a way for Amazon to give back. And I have nothing against Amazon. But like Cisco just gave $50 million to homelessness. They gave. So what Amazon does is if you make a purchase on Amazon, you pick a charity, and Invisible People has an Amazon Smile. And then so something like 0.005 of every one of your purchases goes, Amazon donates to Invisible People. It's really on Amazon's part. It's not their way of giving back. It's a way of making sales, because now they get all these nonprofits excited that they're going to make money, and they all tweet it. I tweet it every now and then on an automatic rotation, but I don't highlight it much because they're just trying to get you or me to, get you all to buy more stuff. It's not really about helping, charities. Hey, Vox, I don't know. I don't know. And I saw the same thing. If you go to our QGive, invisiblepeople.tv/donate, because I think you asked before, Super Chat takes a huge piece of it. It's really meant for the vloggers that have big followings and their fans want to be seen in the comments. So, Eric, I don't know if we're the only one out there doing interviews. We're the only ones out there doing interviews consistently with integrity, with protocols to make sure that, nobody gets hurt. And we're the only ones that are working with all kinds of organizations within the sector to affect change. So that's something I learned. Melissa, oh my gosh, thank you, Melissa. You're so awesome. So when I was growing up, I mean, one puff asked me if I smoked weed. I smoked a lot of weed, and I was rebellious. And if I saw wrong, I went and I fought. I'm going to stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And I was real loud about it. Not that I'm soft about it anymore, but I realized not a lot changed. So to affect change, you have to be in the room. You have to work with others. You might not always agree with them. They might not always agree with you, but that's how you learn and grow, and you affect change. So Invisible People works with other nonprofits. I mean, I'm blown away. I mean, like the city of San Francisco allowed me to run around in City Hall unattended without security for a whole week. And I have a large following, and that's just because they trust me. I just went out with Detroit Street Medicine. They're talking medical records with people, but they know that I will never do anything intentionally to hurt people, and that I have procedures and protocols in place to make sure. I mean, you just cannot go out and videotape and take pictures of homeless people. That's irresponsible. Anybody that does that just takes pictures and video or everything, doesn't, really respect homeless people. They don't respect anybody. I will never videotape anybody without their permission. And I will never videotape somebody with extreme mental illness or that is extremely intoxicated. And that's a respect thing. There's probably some consent issues, because they're not of right mind, that they didn't agree to it, or they're intoxicated and they didn't agree to it. I'm sure there's consent issues, but me, it's respect. I don't want to be on YouTube drunk. I don't want to be on YouTube when I'm having a mental breakdown. So putting somebody on YouTube in that state of mind or condition is irresponsible. And so there's, I have a reputation where I can go into any city in the world and work with homeless services. And that is only because, there's a lot of people that don't like me, but they respect me and know that I have homeless people's best interests at heart. And that's the difference between invisible people and just anybody out there filming homeless people, putting ads on. Melissa Howard, thank you. I get that a lot. In fact, I get that if you go to invisiblepeople.tv/housing first with Dr. Sam, who started Housing First. He was so blown away about my interactions with Lanny in that video. That's what he was like, oh my gosh. And it is, it's just, I care about people and I respect people. The greatest stories of people I meet don't ever end up on video. And the other thing is that a lot of stuff that I do, I don't videotape because it would ruin the dynamic. So like in Michigan, I met Dave, who lives in his car, is part of the homeless support group. I could have walked in there, come blaring with cameras rolling, live feeding or just cameras rolling, and put ads on it and get all kinds of views. But I'm there to take a homeless friend out to lunch, and then I went and met Sam out in the woods. What an amazing story. I mean, he was traveling around the US stranded. I helped him a couple times. I helped him all I could. And he actually, so get this, Sam, he's traveling around the US. I helped him. He was kind of stranded and needs some help, and I helped him. And he heard I was going to be in Michigan. So he made his way up to Michigan. Hopefully that will connect. So, I mean, here's homeless people traveling multiple states to connect with me, and I cherish that. But that really is, wow. Oh my gosh. Northern Witch. I love you. I love you all. I do. You super chat. Wow. What Kenneth said times 1,000. So, I mean, that's the, the difference, but, I am governed by a board of directors. So there is protocols in place. I just can't go spend money. I just can't go treat people like this or that, or they'll fire me. They're basically the boss of invisible people. It's not just me out there. So Northern Witch, you got to tell me, where are you from? And Philip F. So I think Philip asked about the plague in California. So California, I think, is a crisis that is, it's getting a lot of attention, but you in Seattle, San Jose, New York City, the crisis is everywhere. You're going to see the homeless. What's going to be interesting about Los Angeles is the homeless count is going to be released probably next week or the week after. And from what I hear behind the scenes, it's not good. And like, duh. And homeless numbers going up. And I don't know if you know this, LA raised taxes. They raised property taxes and they raised sales tax. So here's a year later and the public's going to flip. it's going to be a hornet's nest. It's always been a hornet's nest. Now, you're not going to end homelessness in a year. You're not. But when you see the numbers go up as much as they are, and I'm guessing, I don't know what the numbers are. I've heard rumors, but from what I've seen, the political positioning in Los Angeles behind the scenes, I'm going to try to get out to LA in May. Right now, I kind of in hold because I'm here taking care of my mom, and that's a priority. And I did, there's something that may come up in May. Otherwise, I'm taking care of my mom. Wow. You know what? Northern Witch, thank you. I've never been through Wisconsin. I've got to make that happen. So, Michelle, mom's in the other room napping. I can hear the TV. I know she's asleep. She turns on the TV and goes to sleep. I think she watches, prime time in her dreams. So Vox, the retirement, I mean, I'm 57. I don't know what I'm going to do. No, it's Mark at invisiblepeople.tv. Same as the website, only Mark at. Yeah, it's everywhere though. Rent is going up. It's all relative. I mean, even where I live in Syracuse, and here in Binghamton, I mean, it's small city, but the rents are going up and going up and going up. I know, Jennifer, you told me it was very encouraging. Thank you, Northern Witch. You are awesome. Do you have another name I could call you besides Northern Witch? Babu, if that's it, Binghamton is depressing. When I grew up here, it was depressing, and now it's even worse. So I'm kind of a little concerned because there's no work here. So I don't know what's going to happen if my mom is, healthcare. If we have to sell the house, and that's one thing people don't talk about is how homelessness relationships affect homelessness. And you have a caregiver, or you have a person who, let's say, like my mom, owns the house, and something happens, we'll have to sell the house for her health care, and there's no jobs here, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But that's tomorrow. And today, I'm just focusing on you guys. I know that's Philip F. That's the thing. Extended care is so expensive. And insurance doesn't cover it unless you have, extended care insurance, which we don't. The problem is, Kenneth, is that, Medicaid and health insurance doesn't, they will pay for nursing home, but so there's that spot where are still in your home, and then you need more care, but you're not like totally, you just need a different level of care, but it's not nursing home care. Well, that's expensive, and it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. And it's not covered by insurance. TL Fears, I'm so sorry about learning about your disability, and you are so spot on. It is. Hey, Michael Britt, we have an online support group now. I say this every time. It's only for homeless people. If you're homeless or if you were homeless, that way you can help homeless people get through challenges or help each other, because the battle just doesn't end when you get in housing. I was homeless 22 years ago, and I struggle from different issues from my past every day. So we have an online support group at wearevisible.com only for homeless people and formerly homeless people. So Northern Witch, Mom, so it's interesting. Mom, have you seen the I can't talk. The documentary about me and invisible people? Let's see. I can go see if I can find it for you. And it has my mom in there. And why I say that is, okay, so come on, internet. Somebody must be live streaming on my computer. My internet's slow. Go figure. Oh, and then YouTube crashes on me. Give me a second here. So come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on. So to answer your question, Northern Witch, my mom had a really bad stroke 30, 40 years ago. What's interesting about that is the doctor said that she would never, ever go past a third grade education. And she basically said, screw you, and drove her own car and ran her own business. So here's the link to the documentary about me and my work. You get to see my mom in it. She tells everybody that I was the devil on wheels. Thank you, Mom. When I was growing up. So now that she's 87, her disability is a lot worse because you have old age going in. So. Hey, Michael, I understand. So you're living a nomad life. There's some full timers in the group that do the same. Yeah, Northern Witch, love to know what you think about it. And you too, Melissa. Here, I'll Hey, Sandy. Sorry to our Sandy Sunday. Neat name. I love how creative y'all are with YouTube names and YouTube handles. But sorry to learn about your cancer. I wish you all the best. Hey, hello from India. So there's always been a nomadic lifestyle, and RVers call it full-time RVers. There is people that choose nomadic lifestyle. The difference is, notice I said choose. So they tomorrow could probably go and rent an apartment or stay in a hotel or do whatever. Homeless people don't have choice. And where I learned that from is from Yellowknife, Canada. and I met an older Aboriginal, they used to say Aboriginal, now it's Indigenous, an older Indigenous man who told me, I mean, a really hard man, somebody that you'd never think would get emotional. And he told me that he cried twice that winter because the weather got below 60. And I realized at that moment that true homelessness is absence of choice. Nobody sleeps outside. Nobody sleeps outside when it's below 60, unless they're research scientists at the North Pole with all kinds of gear. So the people that choose to van life, that they choose to live in an RV, that they're choosing the nomadic lifestyle, they're making that choice. Majority of homeless people are not choosing homelessness. They, whether it be a hurricane or a relationship or job loss or whatever, there were situations beyond their control that got them into homelessness. Then they can't get out of it. And that's the big difference. So Anthony is asking, how can you live a nomadic life? There's tons of videos on YouTube. To search van life, full-time RV. I mean, there's even for boaters, people who live in the boats full-time. Many of them, work do freelance over the internet, whether it's writing or coding or social media or marketing or something that they can do remotely from any location, as long as they have an internet access. I mean, very similar to the people that work overseas and do it. I forgot what that was. There's a name for that too. Hey, Tanya, I try to keep religion and all that out of invisible people the best I can. It does touch in. I am, so I have a different view of prayer and meditation and all that. And I think this is a public forum, and I don't really feel comfortable doing that here. I do honor and actually am grateful that you made that suggestion. I just don't think so. There's a place for prayer and there's a place for meditation. I just don't think this is the place for it. I will join you in recommending everybody take a moment to think about and, send warm thoughts to all the people still outside. I just don't know if this channel was about homelessness. Now, if I was doing a religious channel or a prayer channel or something, that might be the channel or the vehicle for that. So, but I'm glad you asked that. I have a video on the channel. It was interesting. So I'm walking in Denver, and a homeless man asked me, I pray for him? And I stopped and we prayed. So this woman came up and she's going to win us to the Lord. And we're already praying. I mean, come on. But the homeless man was smoking. So the woman started going into this argument with him, because now she wouldn't pray with him because he's a sinner, because he's smoking a cigarette. Well, the homeless man knew more scripture than the woman, and they got into this debate, and it was really interesting because the homeless man was really, I mean, he knew the Bible. And here's this woman, that was really talking about how you should love people, but because he was smoking, she wouldn't love him. He was unlovable because he was smoking. Well, you know what? Cigarettes won't send you to hell. They might make you smell like hell. So, but that's interesting. Hi, Mary Reynolds. I there I gotta say, there are a lot of negative comments. But if you look at YouTube, there's a lot of negative comments. And if you put invisible people next to it, our comments aren't as bad. Now, I do my best. I have filter set. I do my best to try to go in and moderate the nasty ones that I can find. A couple times a day, I literally go in and look around. There's so many I can't, but there's a reason that I leave some of the ones that people need to know, that people think this stuff about homelessness. And if you look at any homeless article, like the Seattle Times, when Jennifer, they did a story about Jennifer, Sabrina passing away. Jennifer's her sister. She's in the chat. Seattle Times did a really nice post about Sabrina's mom and dad going to see the RV. They had to close the chat because people were so nasty. But that's America, and that's the importance of invisible people. That is why this work is so important. People think that stuff. But if you see a comment that is just, so if it's racist, personal attack, or just super vulgar, I mean, people say the F-bomb, and, that's just part of life anymore. And to be totally honest, there's certain words in the English language that are made to emphasize certain emotions, and they fit with poverty and homelessness. However, there's also certain words that are just vulgar and offensive, and those need to go away. So if you see them, report them. I've got a couple of homeless people that are helping out moderating, but they also can't get online all the time. We're trying. Jennifer, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you're yeah, people just don't know. Hey, Karen, I am sorry that you're having trouble getting a case manager. Obviously, you're homeless. We have a support group just for homeless people. If you're not homeless, please, this is not for you. There's plenty of other groups on Facebook. But you can find us at wearevisible.com. I'd love to have you join us, Karen. Hey, Robert, I am doing good. Hopefully you're doing well, and thank you for giving out socks. Yeah, it is. You know what? Let me see if I can find it. I'm not using my normal computer here. My normal computer went into the shop. Thank goodness I had a warranty on it. Otherwise, I would play it. I don't think this allows you to do screen shares. So let's see if I can find it, and I'll put the link. No, not coming up right away. Oh, there it is. Can we pray? So I haven't watched this in a while. I hope I told the story. And I wish I had. So here it is. Here is the link to the woman. So it's not, like I said, I don't roll the camera all the time. And there was a lot of this interaction that I wish I'd gotten on tape, but I just didn't feel. But it was it was so interesting that I mean, for the first, we were already praying. We were already holding hands, two men in downtown Denver praying, and she's going to walk up and win us to Jesus. Obviously, we already know Jesus. And then because he was smoking, she wouldn't pray with him it was, I haven't watched it in a while, so I might not have told the story exactly like that, but I just put the link in there. Hey, Melissa. Right now I'm building a new Invisible People. Once that's up, I need you guys to help. The more we can grow this channel, the more we're going to be able to have impact. So when the new Invisible People launches in July, I'm going to need y'all to help me blast it. And any ideas? So, you know what? I started in July doing vlogs more. Um, and like I did the Detroit last year, which is okay. It was a neat vlog. I love the couple in the beginning. They're picking on me. They call me Tom Cruise's grandfather. That was just so special. I had to put it in right at the beginning. And then, so when I did the Ithaca vlog, I don't know if you remember, it was just down and dirty, and I just put it up really quick. And that got like 60,000 views. You guys liked it. So I just did the Detroit that way, and I got another one coming up from my trip up into Traverse City that I did really down and dirty quick like that. And so I'm gonna hopefully, someday I hope to get some editing help. That's where I can turn it over and they're going to actually do a really decent job. But until then, and so here's the problem, and it drives me crazy because I'm a media producer, an old school dinosaur. I worked as a television producer for many years. When I'm out on the streets, like with Detroit Medicine, I'm doing a lot more than just filming a vlog. There's a lot of other things going on. The vlog takes the back seat, so I try to make something out of it. So if you guys got any ideas on any of that stuff, should I make them longer? Should I make them shorter? What kind of topics? And thank you all for loving on Jennifer. You guys are just awesome. Hey, Pink. Yeah. So, you know what? People have been asking for longer videos, and I've been trying to go longer. It always depends. So, some of the times, a homeless person is out making money. They're panhandling, or they got some game going on. So, they're kind enough to offer to speak. I don't, there's people walking by. They could be raising money. I'm very conscious that I don't want to interrupt their income. Like I said earlier in this chat, last thing I ever want to do is, we have protocols, so invisible people will never hurt anybody. The other thing is that some of the situations are just not safe. And so we can't do a long video. Sometimes the person doesn't want to talk long. So most of the videos are about 5 to 10, but you guys have been requesting longer videos. So if they're talking and it's safe, I'm going longer because I do listen to you because I think you guys are awesome. I agree with you, Mary. John, any tips for dumpster diving? You're going to think this is funny, and it is funny, but it's also the truth. The good stuff is at the bottom. Don't let the first layer fool you. The good stuff is at the bottom. And I personally hated dumpster diving. I have friends, homeless friends, that love it. They get all kinds of great food and other stuff, and they just love it. And they find stuff in overabundance of food and share it. The other tip that I can give you, so what I used to do, I don't know if you know, um, uh, Sizzlers was like a buffet restaurant. So, hey, Robert, thank you. Oh my gosh, every bit helps. Thank you. Uh, so, when, the buffet people, people don't eat a lot, or they have to, change out the food, and they put it in plastic bags, and then they put it in the dumpster. So it's basically good food. So just jump on in. I, So Sunlit Spot, I here asking for entrepreneurial ideas. So they call them social enterprises today. So one of my favorites is the DC Central Kitchen, which is a friend of mine, Robert Edgar, and I sorry Robert if you ever watch this, Robert Edgar, and he is a friend of mine. And in full disclosure, the LA Kitchen was my client when they first started, and I helped advise them on their startup and their marketing strategy. But the DC Central Kitchen pays homeless people $15 an hour and gives health benefits, and then they teach chef lessons. And that is amazing. My favorite place, it's not really entrepreneurial, if you would, is it's bad name, Portland Hotel Society. It's in Vancouver. It's where Insight is. It's a supervised injection facility, but they have like a chocolate factory and all kinds of social enterprise and store. And they even have a bank, Pigeon Park Bank. And why there's one of the leaders from San Francisco was tweeting how they visited Portland Hotel Society. And I said, did you go to Pigeon Park Bank? And he showed me a picture. I mean, gosh, when you're homeless and you get some money, or you get that monthly check and it gets ripped off, or, you need a bank, and real banks aren't going to let you in. They're going to kick you out. So they started their own bank. And I think that's brilliant. No, Jennifer, on the super chat, YouTube takes a big percentage, a big slice. But people are going to give to whatever they feel comfortable with, and a bunch of people gave tonight, and each one of them I'm grateful for. I mean, invisiblepeople.tv/donate, or go to Invisible People and click on the donate, is the best and easiest, and gives us the best way to connect to people, and you get the fundraising, the IRS receipt. And then on PayPal, if you want to, not PayPal, Patreon is a monthly support that's also growing, and it's another way to support. And some people want to do the $1 a month, $2 a month. Some people are, giving more than that, and all of it greatly. Yeah, Vox, I will be in Cardiff on June 14th. I don't know if it's the 13th, but I know the 15th. And yeah, the 15th, I'll probably be out on the streets handing out socks someplace. So I don't know where to go in Cardiff. What's interesting, when I first visit a city, the nonprofits will tell me this. And then when I hit the streets, the homeless people will give me the truth. So it's really awesome that I get to be in Wales and meet people and be able to help. Hey, Rossi, thank you for your thoughts. Listen to your dad. Okay, so I don't. And there are several moderators, Tanya. They are all homeless. Well, Addie is no longer homeless. Um, and but the Addie is no longer. What? My website is down. Oh no, that is not good. Holy schmoly! Well, Oh, that's why. I'm tired. I'm gonna have to call. I went longer. Um, you can tell my voice is starting to go. So Tanya asked. So that is, and I don't know if it shows because it highlights the invisible people. That's the main donation link. Hey, Rossi, I am grateful you offered, but I tried to incorporate homeless people into everything. It gives them purpose, and it's just helps. I mean, if you look at the core of invisible people, it's all about homeless people. So the people that have access to monitoring this stuff are monitoring the chats, and the comments are homeless, and one is formerly homeless. But the tonight I didn't have time to warn that. I just went on. I just said hello, fired it up. Yeah, Malka, am I saying that right? I know I'm here in Binghamton in severe thunderstorms. Hey, Misty, thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you for your donation. Thank you, Mary. You know what, guys? We've been on for almost 2 hours. I am going to say good night. And I just want to thank you for spending, is it Friday? A Friday evening with you all. And you really not only encourage me, I mean, it's just, I'm touched, honored, blown away. You're all so wonderful and kind, and I'm getting a little sappy, probably because I'm tired. But I mean it. All of you are wonderful, and I appreciate every one of you. And thank you for a wonderful night. And hopefully you will all have a marvelous, marvelous weekend.